Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you're brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build. And today is another base game home, which I am very excited about because it's probably, I'm not going to say it's my favorite base game home that I've made, and I've only made a handful, but I do really like it because compared to the last base game build that I did, this one has like a very bright color scheme, and it's probably more my style than the other one, though I don't know, I can't really make that determination sometimes. My style seems to change, like my style preferences, whenever I build something new that I was hesitant about and then end up liking, so scratch that entirely. But before we really get into the build as well, I wanted to thank you guys so freaking much for, I don't know, just the incredible influx of people that have joined the channel in the past like week or two is insane. I was honestly baffled. I made a post about it over on the community tab because I don't even know what to say other than thank you. I'm just very excited that you guys are here and that you're enjoying the builds and really just sharing your love for The Sims as much as I have for it because I love this game. So I'm stoked that you're here. So thank you so much for that. That has meant so much to me, and you guys have been leaving like these heartfelt, really sweet comments. I mean, some of them like legitimately made me cry. It was so sweet to see all of you guys pop in here and just be like, wow, like I like your build. I mean, it just means so much to me. So thank you so much. But as you can see, we are working on the exterior here, just trying to figure out where some of the porches are going to go. And this home actually ends up being only a 1-bedroom and I think 2.5 bathroom or like 1.5 bathrooms. I can't really recall, but I did actually make a second quote-unquote bedroom, but I turned it into like a studio space. So just know that if you did want to maybe like have a couple here, and if they do want to kind of expand their family or something like that, there is another room available to turn into a bedroom if you just want to like scrap everything in the studio itself. But I thought it was such a cute house, and I've been making these little sunrooms so often now, I can't help it. And I think it's because one, I really want one, and two, in the game, like the natural light that just pours into those rooms is so beautiful, so I can't really help it. And I did go into the debug menu to do most of the landscaping, and I've been doing that a lot just because I do not hold back with decorations on the interior of builds, that I realized if I want to save you guys some simoleons, I mean, I can't make it more often than not, I can't make a build like this really starter friendly unless I'm like intentionally trying to make a starter home. But I figured this kind of cuts down on the cost. Not that it really matters though. I mean, some of us use cheats to go ahead and do like the free real estate, and some of us don't, but maybe I'll try to do a few more starter homes in the next couple of months. I know that's like a long time frame, but I don't feel really inspired to do starter homes that often just because I don't like restricting myself. And I know a lot of you guys have asked about certain like pack restricted builds, and I personally don't like doing them too often. I think I've only done 2 of them so far. I've done, well, I don't know. That's actually probably not true. I've done a few where new packs come out and I try to do like base game with that pack, but it's kind of rare. I think I did 1 base game in Seasons only, 1 base game in Parenthood only. So I might just have to try to explore some of the packs that I think would work really nicely with base game and kind of see what I come up with. I usually don't do pack restricted builds just because it is so hard to not use all of the items that I love so much, but I do also understand that a lot of you guys don't have all of the packs, and I'm very lucky that I'm able to actually get all of them and not have to worry about that. So I do want to maybe shift my focus a little bit on doing like a pack restricted build. That way you guys have some other things to play in and download. So I'll definitely try. I'm not going to make any super big promises, but I'll definitely entertain the thought and see what I can kind of come up with, because at the end of the day, I want things to be accessible for you guys, and I want to love what I create, and I want to share what I love with you guys. So anyway, I am working on the outside lights here and kind of fleshing out the backyard, which I don't finalize until the end of the build, but I did really like creating this little pathway to the gate. So there is actually a gate so they can enter the backyard from, I guess, quote unquote, the front of the house, as well as the back patio. And I just used some terrain paint to create that path because using tiles would have been kind of a mess. And I just kind of work out some more of the landscaping before we end up moving on to the interior, which, like I said, is so bright, I think, and very cheerful. It was very soft. Like there's a lot of whites, there's kind of like some pale pinks, and I don't know, I just thought it was really sweet. I thought it was a really cute house, and I really liked the dining room. So when you guys see the dining room, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy the whole build, but like I really loved the dining room. I would actually really want that dining room personally. But as you can see, it is kind of a quote-unquote square layout in a sense, and it was a little bit challenging because of where I ended up putting the stairs and the access to the back porch. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but in a lot of my recent builds, I don't build the back porch or basically the entry to the backyard until I have figured out the rest of the floor plan, because you run into snags. But I didn't do that this time, so I was a little bit hesitant with it, but I think it ended up working. And the first room that I work on is the kitchen, so I used these nice kind of, is that beige? That might be beige. Kind of like a beige countertop and cabinets, and I don't know, it was such a big space once I actually laid out all of the countertops that I decided I had room for a small island, which your Sims can 110% use if they wish to sit there, but there actually may be some clutter items on top of the island that prevent them from actually sitting down and having a meal, but they can sit on the stool. So, I mean, I would imagine that maybe one of the Sims is cooking or like doing the dishes, and their partner or spouse or maybe their child is like sitting on the stool, just chatting with them, talking about their days. That was something that I did a lot with my mom, so that's kind of what I was thinking of. But there is a fair amount of clutter in this kitchen as well. I've noticed that the debug menu, as well as really just base game in general, actually has a lot of clutter items for kitchens and even living spaces. So I didn't go too crazy, I suppose, but I did use this cookie jar, and I sized it up one using the shift bracket key just to make it a little bit bigger, because who doesn't want a big inventory of cookies in their kitchen? And I also did go into the debug menu, and I ended up finding all of these letters. I don't remember exactly what they're titled, but it just looks like a pile of mail. So maybe they come in and they kind of walk into the kitchen to get like a snack after work or like school or something, and they would have grabbed the mail and they just like toss it on the counter or something. I don't know, that's what I was thinking. And I ended up hanging this pot rack here, and I just thought it was a really sweet, nice kitchen, and it was still fairly open even though it was pretty cluttered. I also used these base game lights, which I think I only used recently in one other build. I think it was an apartment renovation. I forget how much I love them. I love those lights, and they actually provide a decent amount of light in a certain space, so that was really nice to be able to use those. And here is the dining room that I absolutely adore. I ended up just kind of cluttering up a bit with some of those like china cabinets. At least that's what I would consider them, china cabinets. And then I put this console table in this little nook. I wanted to maybe put like an ottoman or something like that, because I thought it would be kind of a nice place to sit and maybe read a book or something, but then I realized that the entire sunroom ended up being the living room, so I ended up putting a console table there with like the fish tank and just a little lamp and a plant. And I have been doing this a lot. I think I mentioned it in one of my other builds recently, but I ended up putting a chair in the corner as if it's like an extra dining chair or something. So maybe if they have a guest over, they can just pull up the chair. Theoretically, of course, they can just pull up the chair, maybe sit on the end of the table, which I think if you actually put a chair at the end of that table, it would most likely be blocked and they probably wouldn't be able to access it just because of the routing issues. And over here, since this entryway was so very small, I just put a plant and put a mirror above it, as well as the coat rack and just a couple of sconces, because there really wasn't room for much else. And then we move on to the living room, which I adore. It is very open, so I mean, kind of depends on what your preference is. I love the living room being the sunroom because I just think it's so beautiful and lets in so much natural light. I do put curtains on each window. However, it's also very open. So, I mean, if you feel a little bit vulnerable, kind of having this almost, I don't know, that's not like a 360 view, obviously, but it's a pretty good view. So like if Sims are walking down the sidewalk or like driving their fake cars down the road, they can look right into the house, but you know, it's the Sims, so I didn't mind too much. I also give them a bookcase, and then I just put another armchair in the corner, as well as another console table with some clutter items. That is one thing about base game. Like, there are a lot of clutter items, I suppose, but in regards to a lot of just other decorations, it's a bit limiting. I mean, I think we know this. I think I'm enjoying base game more now, but it is a bit limiting. And down here is actually the half bathroom. I struggled with this half bath because I realized I had a window on the wall that I wanted to put like the toilet and the sink on, but I think I ended up making it work. And all of my builds are always play tested, by the way, so that does work perfectly fine. If you do encounter issues, just let me know. You might have to shift something, but that does happen sometimes too, where I might not have an issue, or someone else might not have an issue, but like I did, or I don't have an issue and someone else does. So it kind of seems to be a little janky. I'm not quite sure. But now I'm working on the floor plan up on the second story, and the bathroom situation's a bit different upstairs. I don't think I've done something like this in a long time, but I end up basically separating like the shower and where the toilet is. Like it's in a different spot. So I have that door with the window panes in it, and like the shower's on the other side of that door, so that's just where someone goes in to shower, whereas someone else could be using the toilet or like brushing their teeth or something at the sink and not be in the same room, if that makes sense. So I thought that was kind of nice. And this is the master bedroom, well, the only bedroom theoretically, and I do really like it. This is actually one of my favorite swatches of that base game bed. I absolutely love it. I typically will use it for maybe like a teenage girl's room or something like that, but I decided to use it here. I thought it was kind of a nice contrast to the pink walls. I guess kind of the salmony walls. They're not really that pink, right? They're a little bit, they're kind of like an off pink, I suppose. I'm not quite sure what that color is, but I'm cluttering up the dresser here, and I'm just adding a couple of books and a plant and a couple of more other clutter items. That open notebook is one of my favorites, and I probably use it way too often, but I couldn't resist using it here. And then I decided to try to work on the bathroom situation before moving on to the other room that's upstairs, which I mentioned is kind of like a studio area. And I try to do that because I don't want to leave the bathroom for last. I forget about bathrooms more than I'd like to admit. I forget about them a lot, so I wanted to make sure I didn't forget about it here. And it is a bit of an awkward setup. I am not gonna lie, the part or the room where the toilet and like the sink is actually pretty big and open, but where the window was and where the other door was to access this other side of the room, I don't know, it was just weird because I thought adding a second door to this small room upstairs would have made it so much more restricted. So that's kind of why I ended up splitting the bathroom like that. But anyway, we're on to this little studio space, and this is basically a little art studio. I think I've been using the easels a lot more in my builds lately, and in this one in particular, I decided to make it a full-blown art studio. So I did the BB Show Hidden Objects cheat to get those blank canvases and kind of like the canvas storage racks there, as well as the little painting cart, I'm going to call it, the little painting cart. And I thought it was a really cute little studio, so maybe either, well, I don't know, maybe if it's like a couple of Sims, if there's a husband and wife, or a wife and a husband and a husband, whatever suits you. I don't know, maybe it was just one of them is a huge artist, maybe the other one promotes them or something like that, tries to like sell their artwork. I'm not quite sure. It's whatever story, of course, you want to tell. And then here on the landing space, I did decide to give them a desk and a computer just because they were kind of lacking like some activities here, and I just felt as though a computer might be necessary to sell your artwork. I mean, in theory, right? I actually don't know. Do you guys know with the Nifty Knitting Pack, because we got Plopsy, which I haven't even used yet. Don't yell at me. I haven't even used it yet. I haven't even tried it. Can you sell paintings on that? Like, can you sell other crafted items? I thought you could, but I'm just not sure. So if you guys know, definitely let me know in the comments down below as well. And now I'm working on the backyard, and the first thing I did was just finalize all of the landscaping back here. I used a lot of the same plants, of course, as I did in the front yard, and they have a lot of trees back here, which was nice, though it did make it difficult to kind of divvy up the backyard. So I ended up just making this centered cement area with an outside dining table, and I put the grill on the porch, which I usually prefer doing because I think putting it out in the open to the elements, especially if you have seasons, is a little risky. But then I add some outdoor lights, and I kind of surround this cemented area with some landscaping just to kind of frame it a bit, I suppose. And I thought it came out really nice. It looked really sweet. It looked really welcoming and peaceful and cozy. And then I add a couple more activities outside, like a gardening plot or two, something like that. I know not like the birdhouse or bird feeder because, well, base game. We don't have that with base game, but I don't know. I just really liked it. I thought it was a really sweet home, and I can imagine just probably like the nicest couple on the face of the planet living here. I don't know why that is, but that's kind of what I picture. And there's a couple of benches out there, and this is where I pull out the gardening plots as well so they can have some outdoor activities. But I hope you guys did enjoy this base game build. I'm trying to do more of them, so I cannot wait to hear what you guys think, and I will catch you next time I post a video, and I will talk to you guys very, very soon. Bye!
It's nothing new, but it's so good to see you. We do this every day, and I'm still so amazed by you. So hold me tight through the night. It's just us two, me and you. Oh, oh, I can't believe you love me. Oh, oh, I just feel so lucky. Oh, oh, still can't believe you love me. I hope it never ends, this being more than friends, yeah. You know I'm here to stay every single day, yeah. So hold me tight through the night. It's just us two.